This is one of, if not the most popular cartridge out there. It cuts the wind like no other cartridge. It's incredibly flat shooting, even out at long distances. This is the 7 PRC. And before this came along, there was already a cartridge that did almost exactly what it did. And some would argue, to this day, it even does it better. And that is the 300 Win Mag. And in my mind, before the 7 PRC came along, this was the long-range hunting king. We already had one. And I'll be honest, I'm not completely sold on the 7 PRC yet. And to me, the cartridges do almost exactly the same thing. But the 300 Win Mag has been around longer and it's a more proven cartridge. Obviously, that's the one you'd want, right? Well, today we're going to find out where the gap really is. How big of a gap is it between these two hunting cartridges? These are the two side-in shots. That's our 300 Win Mag. That's our 7 PRC. So 300 Win Mag, we're pretty much right on the money. 7 PRC, we're probably a ½ inch low right. So I may not even hold. I may just aim there anyways. I don't have a very steady bag position, so it could just be movement anyways. All right, first up is our 7 PRC. Now, I'm assuming if we were trying to go deep, the 7 PRC would win here. But the 300 Win Mag is carrying like 200 to 300 foot-pounds more energy. And so I'm gonna assume that the 300 Win Mag is gonna make a bigger splash here. And there goes the target. All right, let's look at the target. It knocked the whole target down. This is our 7 PRC. Give it a little finger test here. And nice clean hole. My pinky actually fits all the way in there. I do have small hands though. All the way through, 1/4 inch mild steel at 50 yards. Let's see how the 300 Win Mag does. My money's on this one. I think we're gonna get a bigger hole here. Maybe not by much. It's only 200 foot-pounds more energy. Oh, wow, it didn't knock the target over that time. Through the scope, looks like a slightly bigger hole, but let's go down and check on it. All right, let's see what we got here. 7 PRC here, 300 Win Mag here. Oh yeah, it's bigger. It's not by a ton, but it is bigger. I'll get calipers and measure the width from side to side just to be sure, but that is a slightly bigger hole. My pinky fits in there a little better than the 7 PRC. So I'm giving round one to the 300 Win Mag. All right, now here's where the 7 PRC could shine. Because first, these cartridges need to go through 4 inches of solid wood. Then they need to go through a 1/4 inch of mild steel again. Do I think they're both gonna rip right through? Probably, but if either of them is definitely, in my mind, gonna go right through, it's probably the 7 PRC. You almost always see more penetration in a 7 PRC than you do a 300 Win Mag, especially when the 7 PRC is going faster than the 300 Win, but you never know until you shoot it. All right, starting with the 300 Win Mag this time. Ooh, I almost forgot ear pro. That would have been catastrophic. Didn't knock the target over this time. Dang, I must have sighted these guns in good because I'm hitting exactly where I'm aiming. 7 PRC time. Oh, that's low, right? Well, that's about where it was at sighted in though. Well, I guess my camera died for the second shot, so we'll show that one first. Second one was the 7 PRC, that's that hole there. And yep, all the way through on the second one. And did it get all the way through the steel? It doesn't look like it did. No, it did not get all the way through the steel. The bullet is still in there. Let's go see what kind of bulge we have on the back. Yeah, look at that. Ooh, it looks like there is a little hole, so a piece of it popped out at the end of that bulge there. but I don't know. That is not what I expected. I'm gonna be honest, I thought that would have ripped right through. Now let's look at the 300 Win Mag. There's our entry. The entries look very similar between these two. If anything, the 7 PRC looks like it might even be a teensy bit bigger. Then just pinholes straight through, so no tumbling. And then the 300 Win Mag, straight through the steel. Old trusty. Lots of daylight there. Way passes the pinky test. Oh, wow. I mean, I'm fitting that even cleaner through than the first hole when there was no wood. Interesting. Okay. So it looks like 300 Win Mag wins both of the first 2 rounds here. Not what I expected. I went to this test because I thought this would be the one that 7 PRC would really shine. But apparently that was not the case. So let's move on to the next one. All right, I know for a fact the #1 comment if I don't do this is what guns am I shooting? For the 7 PRC, this is the Savage 110 Trail Hunter. Probably gonna be doing a full video on this gun soon, so I probably won't go too in-depth about it. It's got the green Hogue stock. Not a huge fan, at least for the looks. I like the feel though, I like the grippiness. 22-inch barrel. This one's running an Arkin EPL 4 scope on it. Arkin's all right. I prefer the Athon scopes. Even the Discovery scopes I would probably prefer over an Arkin, but the Arkin's not bad. And honestly, for a budget rifle, this is pretty fantastic. One thing I don't love about it, the trigger kind of sucks. It's you got your take up here, which is nice. I like a 2-stage trigger, nothing against that. But then you're pulling, and there you go. I mean, you saw I was almost white knuckling that the entire way. And then for the 300 Win Mag, one of my most favorite rifles to shoot. It's one of the most fun just because of how accurate it is. This is just such a fantastic rifle. We're going from budget to not budget at all. But carbon fiber stock, 24-inch barrel. Now I know you're gonna be saying, oh, 24-inch barrel, you're gonna be shooting faster than the 7 PRC. I chose a 24-inch barrel versus a 22-inch barrel because with the ammo I'm shooting, these are both shooting Precision Hunter loads, and in that ammo, the 300 Win Mag is going about 100 feet per second slower. So because I chose a slower bullet in the 300 Win Mag, I decided to go with a little bit longer of a barrel. And if you noticed, this Socko 90 also had a backstop recoil pad on there, which actually helps an incredible amount with the recoil. If you've never shot 300 Win Mag, the recoil is stout. And with a 200 grain bullet, your recoil energy is over 30 foot-pounds is what your felt recoil energy is. Whereas with a 7 PRC, it's more like 24, 25, something like that. Now, all the penetration stuff tells one thing, but what about force of impact? And nothing in my mind shows that better than good old water jugs. We got a water jug for both these cartridges to zip right through, and then we see how far through this 4-inch wood it can make it. All right, 7 PRC. And now for the 300 Win Mag. Boom, baby. All right, here is our 7 PRC. Blew that thing to shreds. Gonzo. 300 Win Mag. Dare I say an even better job at blowing up the milk jug? I mean, they both went through, so how do you say one did better than the other? But it looks to me like the 300 Win Mag is gonna win again. 7 PRC, or 300 Win Mag is on the left, 7 PRC on the right. And entry holes look similar, but again, 300 Win Mag looks a little bit bigger there. Exit, they both exited the whole way. It looks like 300 Win Mag, definitely. 7 PRC, maybe not. That might just be like bulging wood. If I can dig this out, maybe I can find the bullet. If it made it out, I don't think it made it out, guys. It looks to me like this is just, all these wood shards are just bulges from the bullet. I don't think the 7 PRC made it out. If it did, very small piece. Whereas the 300 Win Mag looks like the entire bullet was able to escape the wood. I mean, to me, this is pretty clear cut that the 300 Win Mag is better than the 7 PRC from these 3 tests. Obviously, none of this has to do with drops, drifts, anything like that, but from a straight penetration and just power standpoint, looks like the 300 Win Mag is better than the 7 PRC. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and watch out for more ballistics lab videos, and we will see you in the next one.